Okay, we are here, we are live, we are ready to go. Welcome everybody to, well, at least for a while, my first, actually not for a while because I'm only streaming fairly new. This is my first stream on a Monday, just to be sort of make it clear. Monday isn't replacing the Thursday streams. I plan from here on out to do 2 streams every week. So we're going to do Monday streams, Thursday streams, 2 p.m. and in the time in between, what I plan on doing is taking what goes on in the streams, chopping them up into separate mission videos that are approximately about 30 minutes, and posting those in the intern, so for people who missed a stream or would prefer getting it in more bite-sized kind of chunks, that's what you're going to be getting. But that does mean 2 streams every week from here on in, so it's not a change, it's an addition to what I was already doing on Thursday. And for those people that are in the chat, just a quick reminder, I do the best I can to read the chats, but there is about a 20-second delay between when you type something and when I see it. So if you're noticing that sort of delay, don't take it personal. It's just me, or that's not me, it's YouTube that's doing that. Okay, let's take a look at milestones, because this will sort of refresh us on where we are at the end of last about a week and a half ago now. Looking at these milestones here, recent accomplishment, I've landed on the surface of the moon. Not really, we impacted with the surface of the moon. I guess they're calling that as a landing, but to you might be noticing here, I'm getting an extra 62,400 Kerbbucks over what I would normally get for this milestone. And that's because, let's just go through the rest of this real quick. That's because of this moon probe strategy. I have this mod installed called Strategia. It changes, as you can see, the way the strategies work in the administration building completely. And I have this strategy called Moon Probes, which gives me 400% funds to any, or 400% addition to any of the funds I gain from milestones in and around the moon, but minus 80% of funds of milestones around other bodies. So this is really focusing me to think about the moon, and today what we're going to be thinking about is putting a relay network around the moon so I can really get going about mining science from the moon, which kind of brings us into the other strategy I have active, which is called To Boldly Go. I get 15,000 funds whenever I get science from a new biome, and I've got hardly any science from around the moon yet, so hopefully this should turn into a fair amount of funds for us. So let's get into contracts just really quickly. I want to show what I've already kind of got going. There's a low resolution scan around Kerbin that's still in the process of happening, but the one I want to do today is this one here. This is the main focus, to put a relay satellite in orbit around the moon. I also have another contract to put a satellite in a very specific orbit around the moon. I'm going to kind of do this one as a twofer. One mission, going to go into this orbit right here, and then I'm going to take the stuff that I send there and shuffle it over to an orbit that's more appropriate for a relay. So there'll be a lot of orbital shenanigans kind of going on. There's another couple of contracts I do want to take a look at just really quickly. If I get into this one, the collect science section, these are always nice and easy. Science data from space around Kerbin. I'm going to scoop that one up. One thing you got to be a little bit careful with Kerbalism and how the science works in Kerbalism is you have to gather an entire science chunk. I don't know what you call it. You know, you got to get 100% from a biome or an area before this one will get ticked off. Not just a tiny amount of science with Kerbalism, but I got a mission in mind that will take care of that. I also have getting science data from space around the moon. We might as well scoop that one up. We're going to the moon anyway. And I don't think we'll be getting to this today, but you never know. Under SCANsat official, we have do a low-res altimetry scan of the moon and conduct a multispectral SCANsat survey, which is what maps the biomes of the moon. probably going to be for the future, for the next stream, but might as well get those going in reserve anyway. So let's get started right away and get into building our first craft. And our first craft is going to be just in around Kerbin to collect some science. So the contract I'm looking at, let's take a look at, there we go. There's all our contracts. Is the one I just picked up here. Gather space science. Let's push the right button. There it is. Gather some science from space around Kerbin. So transmitter requires scientific data from space around Kerbin. This will be a nice, easy one to get us sort of started. And if I open up Kerbalism's little science tab here, I've collected a reasonable amount of science from space around Kerbin, but there's two experiments I've not collected much from. One of them is called the Might experiment. Sometimes this gets messed up for some. There we go. And you can see I've collected a lot of low space stuff using the Might experiment that comes from Kerbalism, but I've not, can I make this a little bigger? I cannot. But I have not collected any high space stuff. The thing to notice here is that the high space stuff is not biome specific, but a requirement, it's always easy to miss this stuff, is that we have to have a minimum inclination of 70 degrees and a maximum inclination of 120. Basically just says we have to be in a polar orbit for this one. So I want to put a satellite in a polar orbit about Kerbin in high space, so over an altitude of 250 kilometers, collect the high space science that's available. And also there's a light experiment. I've collected some stuff around the moon, but I've not collected any. Oh, I have collected the light. No, it's not the light. I'm sorry. My error. The sight experiment. They all have similar names. The sight experiment, again, I got low space, but not high space for the sight experiment above Kerbin. The thing to notice over here is that once we go into high space, we are biome specific. So what I'm going to do is still go with the polar orbit. This will be good. We'll be being in a polar orbit means that as Kerbin rotates, you'll eventually get over every single biome, and we'll be able to collect both of these with the same bit of science equipment. So let's put this aside. Let's get our best probe core to date, which is the HECS. We're going to configure the unmanned experiments. So we need to have the sight experiment and the might experiment. There's the might, and there's the sight. And these again are butchered acronyms. So just to sort of, this is the magnosity, I can't even say that, ionospheric transmissive evaluation, measures the strength of magnetic fields in the ionosphere. And the sight experiment is the survey interplanetary trash experiment, which measures dust through the vacuum. Very nice. All right. Let's get started with what we need to add on to all of this kind of stuff. So, first of all, let's think about data. I usually don't put too much thought into how much data these generate, but you can actually work it out. So for instance, let's take the experiment that's going to take the least amount of time, this one here. Notice that this experiment takes 12 minutes and 35 seconds. The sight experiment takes an hour. So for 12 minutes and 35 seconds, we're going to be, let me get in the right one, both of those experiments are going to be running. And you can actually calculate how much data this is going to generate. Let's see here. It says here that this generates 4.32 kilobytes per second. And then if we go to the sight experiment, it generates 3.4 kilobytes per second. So you can simply add those two together. At the same time, you're going to be transmitting that. We're going to put a single communitron on this. And if I go to where the communitron 16 is, come on, stay there. There we go. It transmits the data at 2.2 kilobytes per second. So the thing to notice is that it transmits slower than the data in which it that it adds up. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's collecting data faster than it can transmit it. There we go. And you can calculate the rate by simply adding up the 3.4 we had here, what was the other number that I had there, 4.32 that we had before, and subtracting off our transmission rate, and we can see that for the first 12 minutes and 35 seconds, you're going to be collecting data at a rate of 5.52 kilobytes per second. You can actually work this out. And 12 minutes and 35 seconds is 755 seconds. I have worked this out ahead of time. Don't think for a moment I'm doing this in my head. So if you take the 755 seconds, multiply it by the 5.52 kilobytes per second, you get that you're going to accumulate 4.17 megabytes of data over that 12.35 minutes before this might experiment is done. Right? So you need to make sure you can store that amount. So we can up the capacity here right now. Our hard drive can hold, like, at the beginning it's 2. I'm going to put it up to 8 because I also realize that I'm likely to, if I did the same experiment with, or the same sort of calculation with the site, which takes an hour, and so it's going to be going for a while still after that, that's going to be about another 8 or so megabytes of data. So it's going to be actually more than what's here. So what I decided to do, what I'm going to do is actually really put on a lot of storage space. So there's 8 megabytes going to be stored in that one, 8 megabytes stored in that one. We don't need any more experiments, so I'm going to configure these experiments and turn them to none. There we go. So by using 2 probe cores, I can store 16 megabytes of data. That should be enough for our data storage needs. So I used to just not pay too much attention to data storage, and I've been burned by it a couple of times. I think it's worthwhile to sort of do that really quick calculation. Okay, other stuff, well, electric charge. I figured I only needed about 210 units of electric charge. So far we already have 200 here. So what I'm just going to do is take some, yeah, I'm going to put these guys on. We'll put 6 of them on. That gives us 800 units of oh, that's too much. Let's not go berserk. Let's just stick one of these underneath. There we go. That's 400 units of electric charge. That should be plenty in dealing with the night side and all of that kind of stuff. I also figured out I need 210 units of electrical generation, so I'm going to get that one by simply putting on 6 OTSAT solar panels. That again should be plenty. And for transmission, we're going to put on a single Communitron like that. There we go. So that should take care of electrical generation, data storage, and transmission and electrical storage. It should be over the top on all of those things. Let's just go into this probe. I'm going to do one more thing. Let's take this window away. I don't need it. You can actually start the experiments ahead of time. That's nice so that it'll be waiting, and then you don't have to remember to start them later. They'll just turn on when there's some data for them to collect. Okay, I figured out that this fella needs about 300 meters per second of delta V. So let's go over to our tanks, and let's arrange them by mass. There's our smallest one, the Oscar A, coming from Restock. Nice. Can I get away with putting a tiny little ant engine on the bottom of that? Put engineer on compact. That's 426 meters per second of delta V. That's already more than I need. 345 again. My budget's about 300. That should be plenty. Thrust to weight is 0.6. That should be fine as well. So this is starting to look a bit like a thing. Okay, next we got to build ourselves a booster, and for the booster, it's going to go into a polar orbit, which takes more delta V. I'm going to budget in and around 3,800 meters per second of delta V. So we're going to need a little bit more. Just taking a look here at the chat as well. Yeah, when I was working out all this electricity and data storage, Mr. Nico, I was already thinking about time spent in the night and all that kind of stuff. That's all kind of factored into it. Should hopefully be okay. Okay, let's take a look at the boosters I have. Boosters I have. This guy has a mass of only 341 kilograms, so that's a baby. We can just stick you under it. That is going to be absolutely nothing. That's probably that's going to be through the roof just like that. So we'll stick with this booster. I can see I need a fairing, so I'm going to just switch up the decoupler here a bit. Put on the TS06 decoupler. That's the 0.65, the 0.625 meter decoupler. I have a fairing. Oh, how about we retract this antenna? In fact, why don't I, while I'm thinking about it, put that antenna onto an action group. There we go. Actually, and keep checking, do I have lights? I still don't have lights. That's something to think about for the future. Okay. Anyway, one thing at a time. Let's build this fairing. Built there. Built there. I'm going to put this on clamshell. Put it on to, whoa, that's 4 sides. And up the ejection force a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit nicer. There we are. It's looking like 3,954 meters per second of delta V. Now, one thing I was actually thinking about after I built this is I've been using these service bays really as just a place to stow stuff. I mean, that's what they're for. In this case, just some small reaction wheels to help with the stability of it. But the service bay, if I go to payload, has a mass of 100 kilograms. The fairing, oh, I guess it's not. I guess an alternate way to do it, I just want to play around with this idea. Here, let's take these two out. An alternate way that I think might be nice is to put a fairing in here. I'll show you where I'm going with this. Let's make this the root part for a moment. I just want to see if this looks a little bit better. Turn on the truss structure and the interstage nodes. And now I can put the reaction wheels in there. Like that. And I can build this fairing like that, so it's a like kind of like just like a cowling. And then you can also turn off the staging. There's a fairing stage button, so it can't be staged. You can actually turn off the expansion bit too. There we go. So now it's like, I think that's a little bit, you know, we can make it dark. Oh, that looks funny. That looks alright. I don't know. That's an alternate way than using the service bay. It's kind of, I think it looks alright. We might go with that. Still a ton of delta V, right? Yeah, 3,000. The staging is complete kerschmussel here. Let's fix this all up. All right, Y is compact again. Oh, because of the root part. Let's put the root part back where it's supposed to be. There. Now this makes sense. Actually, I think I've lost a little bit of delta V doing that. I'm not sure that was the better way to go. Not sure that was the better way to go. Can I make these dark? No. Oh yes, there's a dark variant. Oh, that's nice. I can sometimes spend way too much time fiddling around. This is now, what am I up to, by the way? Open up. Here, just, I'm up to the HECS 6. So this is the HECS 6. Save that. Yep. Okay, let's look at delta V. Oh, this just needs to get turned down just a little bit. Perfect. Oh, way to make this fairing fit a little bit more cozily. Yeah, I could have not used the interstage. No, I think that's what you're meaning, and then just had the fairing between the two. Yeah, that would work. I'm just noticing this little ugly bit here. Let's see if we can edit this fairing, make it look a little nicer. I don't know if there's a way to get rid of that sort of cross-hatching that's happening there. I'm pretty happy with this. All right, so yeah, we're going to be doing the relays in the next one, and it's going to be 3 of them at the same time. But for now, this is going to be just a science satellite in a polar orbit about Kerbin. Let's give her a test, make sure this flies okay. So I'm going to use the KRASH simulator. We'll start this from the launch pad. You think the service bay has better aerodynamics? You might be right. You might be right. Mr. Nico says that the service bay has better aerodynamics. I thought this might, well, it's, I don't know, might be personal preference. It should work either way. Let's just do this. So we'll throttle up. Here, we'll put this on here, and we shall punch this. And again, the goal here is a polar orbit. So I'm going to head towards the south. You could head towards the south or head towards the north. It really doesn't matter. More kind of a personal preference sort of a deal. We're going to lock that onto the prograde vector right about there. That is not south. This way, oh my gosh. What am I? No, that is south. What am I? I'm going right. Oh my god, I don't know my own directions. I thought I was going. It's cool. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Locked at the prograde. For a second, I thought I was going west. I got all my directions mixed up. And I can tell I'm way too far to the west. Let's see if we can pull this. Pull this. Oh, and we're going up very steeply. Try and do a better job. Here, just let this go. Watch our inclination climb here. We're about 45 degrees inclination so far. And start reducing that throttle. Yeah, coming up too steep. I don't know what got into my head there, but if it is able to insert itself with this crappy ascent, then I know that it's going to be fine. Yeah, sorry, there was no stream Thursday last week, but there will be one Thursday this week. We are now 2 times a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Let's put that back on surface. I think it was better that way. All right, Apoapsis is almost at 80 kilometers, at which point I'm going to cut it. Here we go. Inclination is 89.4. It's not like it came out badly. Okay, let's see. Let's just time warp up the Apoapsis. I still have close to 1,700 meters per second left in the vehicle. So all I got to do to see whether I can... Okay, there we go. So about 1,700 meters per second left, 500 here, 17 and 500 is 22. Ooh, it's a little close. Well, I'll have to make sure to do a better ascent. Let's terminate this simulation. I think I can do it, but I just have to ascend better. It wasn't very efficient. All right. We'll be talking about relays with the next mission there, Gilly Assassin. Let's just launch and do it. Okay, so this one is for real, not a simulation, so if things go badly, things go badly. Let's put this here. All right. And we do have a mission, right? Yeah, we do have a mission to collect science, so let's get our contract for that. Okay, let's go. And I'm going to try and do a better ascent this time. Better than last time. So I like to get it about 50 meters per second, and then we'll start knocking it over and then locking that onto the prograde vector. Seeing where that ends up. There we go. I think that's a little better. So right now I'm just letting it ride on that prograde vector. Actually, I think I kind of like the way in which it's fallen over. I'm pretty happy with that. Might just stop it just a little bit because it's falling over a little quickly. Back on the prograde, lock it again. Back on prograde again. I certainly don't want it to be flipping out. There we go. Keep that on prograde. How's our inclination doing? Inclination's climbing quickly, almost at 80 degrees. Okay, let's start reducing throttle. I noticed my apoapsis was getting close to being a minute ahead, so we'll cut the throttle down so it'll just sort of coast here a little bit. How's our inclination doing? 88, 89 degrees. Can probably stick this onto orbit pretty soon. Yeah, let's put that in orbit. Just stay on that south line now. And then we'll just watch our apoapsis, let this ride on up. Apoapsis a little over 40 kilometers. All right. I think this is a little better than last time. Oh, actually, I should let this apoapsis keep building right up to a little over 250 kilometers because that's our final altitude. I think it's a little better to just keep going. So we'll let this go to maybe about 260 or so. Remember, we want to get into high space with all of our equipment. Inclination is 88 degrees. That's fine. All right. You know, I never did test the staging of the fairing. Let's find out if that's going to be okay. Oh, yeah. No problem. Just past 70 kilometers on apoapsis. And again, I'm just going to let this just keep riding up. 80 kilometers on the apoapsis. Let the apoapsis build to about 250, a little over 250. And we'll ride up and we'll circularize, and that's it. This thing will be inserted and should be collecting science for us. Okay, apoapsis is increasing quickly now. Let's reduce throttle even more. 200 kilometers. 50, 60, good. All right, there we go. Okay. And again, with Kerbalism, there is limited ignitions. Only got 4 ignitions left on that engine. 232 meters per second left, but of course there's still the probe itself. All right, let's get up there. Whoops, I hit map view. I didn't mean to do that. Let's get up to our apoapsis. Should really be watching this. There we are. See Kerbin there rotating below us. There's our southern ice shelf. Let that find the prograde vector again. I could have launched this, I'm just realizing, at dawn or dusk, and then it would have been in the sunlight for the whole time. That would have been smart, but it should be fine either way, so I'm not really too worried about it. Okay, let's get ourselves a little bit closer to our apoapsis, and we'll just do our circularization. We're going to be losing the booster pretty soon into this, I think. That's okay. Okay, let's start throttling up. Throttling down. I don't want to start and restart this too much because it can... oh, wow, we're going to be there. We're there. That did not take much. I didn't even get into the probe. Oh, my gosh. That's funny. I should have actually... Here, let's do ourselves a little bit of a favor here. we'll get rid of this debris. So there's still a lot. I got my orbit that I need, but what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to burn retrograde. I might not be able to get this really down very far. No. Okay. Whatever. Okay, now we'll go prograde. I was hoping to maybe get rid of this booster, but it ain't going to happen. Our periapsis is 216. Let's do this. And again, get that periapsis back up. I'm not sure that accomplished much, but whatever. Okay, periapsis is over 250, so we're in high space all the way around. We'll position this one for the solar panels. Whoa, lots. I should disable these reaction wheels. There. That's not what I wanted to do. Toggle torque, that's what I wanted to do. It's just too much torque control. It's really jerky. There we go. And this should be now collecting all sorts of data for me. The mite experiment, the site experiment are both running, and this should be just fine. This should just run like this. So I think what I'll do is just let this run in the background, and we'll get ourselves back to the Space Center. Start thinking about those relays. Back in here. Okay, we're going to go new. This is going to be Mun Relay. And we'll start by just building one of those relays, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, oh, that's an octo. I don't want to start with the octo. Start with the HECS. That's our best probe core. This is going to do no experiments. So the very first thing I'm going to do is turn off these experiments. We'll send up a separate probe to collect experimental stuff. And let's see. This guy, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking up a total of 3 satellites, and we're going to be dropping them into an orbit and then circularizing them. The individual satellites aren't going to need a lot of delta V. In fact, this guy's only going to need about 60 meters per second of delta V per relay. So it's not going to need a lot. We're going to use for communication 2 of these HG-5 relay antennas. I want to show you something about them because I think this is really kind of neat. Restock adds in a ton of extra texture so that you can change the orientation of these. I think that's like pretty neat. I like kind of like this one, but if I retract them, they go like this, and then they're out. So I think it doesn't really matter, does it? Oh, look, notice that when they extend, they turn too. That's neat. I like that. I like that one. That's the one I like. Getting too picky about that. None of those affects the function, so it doesn't really matter. I also... No. It doesn't need much data because it's just for relays. So, yeah, let's add in some fuel. So, what I'm going to do again is take on... Oh, actually, let's put on electricity. I should think about that. I got here, it needs 180 units of electric charge. It already has 100 just from the probe body. So if I go to electricity and just put on one of these, that should do it right there. I might put these the other way. I can do it. That's what I'm thinking about. Now when I extend them, what do they do? Sure, I don't care. That's fine. Okay, and we also need solar generation. Again, a single row of oxstats will do that just fine. So, oxstat yet to unlock the deployable solar panels. So we'll just do that. That is nice and easy. And easy is good. And delta V. Yeah, there's not going to be much to this. Let's go to tanks. Again by mass. This is our smallest one. And we'll put on again our friend the ant engine, because I'm sure that will be plenty. That's 424 meters per second. Like I said, it really only needs about 60, so we're going to take out most of this fuel. That's 90. That'll be, well, you know what? It doesn't hurt to give a little more. I can get playing in with the textures, probably. Make it gold. There we go. That can stay gray. That doesn't have a texture. What can we do with the ant textures? Nothing. Okay. That doesn't seem to change. There's two here, but it doesn't seem to change anything. Okay. We'll go with that, go with that, go with that. That's it. This is like our whole relay. Let's, whoops. Just gonna move these down a little bit. Yeah, I don't want anything clipping. This is just for looks. Extend the antenna. That looks great. Okay, let's get into action groups. We'll put that on a 1. Extend the antenna. Oh, what am I doing? 1, click, toggle the antennas. That's what I was meaning to do. There we go. What if... Now I'm playing again. I shouldn't play so much. Oh, we'll stay. I like the way they flip. Retract. There we go. Okay, so, gosh, that went so quick. I feel like I'm going to miss something, but I don't think I am. I think this is really, literally all it needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this to an action group. So, or not to an action group, I'm sorry, to the sub-assemblies, because I want to put a couple of them into a vehicle. So I'm going to do that by simply grabbing any of these decouplers will do. It doesn't really matter. Making that decoupler the root part. Now going to sub-assemblies, and I can grab this by the engine, like so, and drag it into the sub-assembly drop zone, and this is going to be a Mun Relay. There we go, that's it. And the reason, by the way, is that you put on the decoupler and then grab it by the engine is it makes that engine now a node. See how the engine's a node? And that's the way I'm going to want to attach this in the final vehicle anyway. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go new. Yep, we are new. Get another HECS probe. Where'd it go? There it is. Again, before I get myself carried away, make sure it has no science on it. It's disappearing on me. It's flashing in and out. It's a ghost probe. And what am I going to do with this? I think, let's just see what happens if I stick a 2.5 meter fairing under it like that. Let's not build anything yet. We'll put on the truss structure, or the interstage nodes. Then we'll get a 0.625 meter. I guess technically I can go right onto there. Like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's turn off the nodes for a second. It's clicking in the wrong spot. I'm going to turn off the interstage nodes. I want this to be right on there. There we go. And now we can turn back on the interstage nodes. That. And then we'll get one of the satellites I just made. Mun Relay. And now I can stick that right. Oh, let's turn off the interstage nodes again. Sticking that right to the... Oh, that is a stack separator. Ooh, I just noticed that. The difference between a stack separator and a decoupler, do I have the small decoupler? I do. Is that this leaves behind debris. It detaches on both ends, and I'm really not a fan of debris, so we'll do that. There we go. Now I can put back on the interstage nodes. Hold the Alt key, click on that. Boom. There we go. And those are tucked in nicely, I think. Might take this bottom one and grab it again and simply rotate it just so the antennas come out the other way. I might also... who cares? It's okay. I'm just noticing it's clipping here, but I'm getting a little bit too picky with that. So there we go. There's our vessel. And I could put a third one on here to have 3 relays. We're going to put 3 relays in the orbit. But what I think I'll do instead is actually have this thing here be one of the relays as well. I think that's going to be, yeah, that's going to be what I'm going to do. So what we'll do, let's get some more of these communitrons. So the actual vessel here itself, okay, you know, I'll stick them here for now, but I know I'm not happy with that placement, but we'll come up with something. Let's get how much fuel this thing's gonna need to carry. This thing needs fuel. Fuel tanks. Let's start with the smallest of the 1.25 meter tanks and stick on a spark engine. That is 1,020 meters per second of delta V, and my budget for this whole craft, by my figuring, I got it here somewhere, is 1,200 meters per second of delta V. So it's a little on the small side. Let's add on a little bit more fuel. Oh, that's a big thing. Oh my gosh. What if I go with one of these? The spark might not be big enough too. I might want to go with a bigger engine. Oh no, that's a thrust away to 0.91. That's fine. That's a lot of fuel there. What I could do, I think I know what I'm going to do. Let's get back to this one. No, I'm overthinking this. Let's just put this on. Do that, do that, do that. Spark engine, or let's put a structural bit here on the bottom. Doot, 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 doot. There we go. Don't need that, don't need that. Okay, where am I gonna put? I don't like the way these antennas are on. That looks acceptable. I think that looks acceptable right there. And they'll extend, and that'll be a relay as well. Tracked. This also needs, I'm just thinking about this. Yeah, it also needs a battery. Same as the other ones. So one of these. That back. That, of course, has messed up everything. Move this up a little bit higher. That makes the whole thing look better. You know what? I might put this. No, there isn't a good spot. Okay, we'll do that. And batteries and solar panels. So this bit down here is going to be our third relay. So we'll have 3 of them. Bump, bump, bump. Am I missing anything? I'm not convinced I am. Doesn't need this much fuel. We can take fuel out. And it's time for me to take a look at the chat. Remember about decouplers at the main antenna, or it may even just, oh, it might blow up on decoupler. Absolutely. Solar panels on the main antenna are not needed. Well, this thing's going to remain in orbit as a relay, so it does need solar panels to keep it going, if I'm understanding that right. There we go. That is 1,345 meters per second of delta V. That should be plenty. I might make this guy gold too, just so they all match. And I think this is going to work. I think we got ourselves a little probe here. Yep. I'm just kind of going through my final checklist. I think, oh, that is what I wanted. I did. I wanted as well, I've not been using this much. If I go into science, I've not been using this ER-7500 computer flight unit. This comes from, don't need 8 of them, that's for sure. This comes from Kerbal Engineer. It's what's giving me this data right here. And what it does is it gives me flight data, a lot more than what you get in stock when you are in flight. I've not been using it because, quite frankly, I've been pretty happy. I've not needed more than what the stock game gives me, but for this mission I actually will need this. So I'm going to stick this guy on as well. Where can I put you? That's not completely obtrusive. That might feel a little bit glitchy, but that's okay. And by the way, once you get the tracking station up to tier 3, you don't need this anymore either. And there's a smaller one that the game gives you too, but this is the only one I have so far. So I did want that engineer chip. Otherwise, I think this guy's ready to go. Still got 1,341 meters per second. Yep, I think so. I think so. Let's build the fairing. We're going to take this fairing out a little bit to make sure it clears all those antennas. And we'll just bring her up. Definitely do a test of this fairing, make sure it's going to deploy cleanly. Up the ejection force just a little bit. This is now Mun Relays, multiple ones. I think I'm pretty good here. All right, we need to get this fella into orbit. So what's the mass on this thing? Do I need to build something bigger than I already got? Probably. This is 2.23 tons. I do not think I have a booster that's capable of lifting that much. No, my biggest booster to date is this one. So we'll see how we can modify it to do the job here. I could obviously just double up the I don't think I have very big engines. I most certainly do not. No. I think I'm going to stick with what I got. The Swivel and the Reliant are still my biggest engines. What do I got for... I have the... You know what? I'm going to build something a little... Well, nah. Let's stick with what we got. We'll make this simple. So, take these off. Take this off. We're going to double up these guys, and then we got to fix the staging a bit. Why won't it go there? It's weird. Oh, it doesn't like being on the flag, I think. Nope, that's exactly what it was. On the decal. Okay, let's fix up this staging. I want these ones. I'm hoping that I can go in 2s here. And these go here. Yep. And then that is that engine. We're going to have to do a lot of fixing here. This is still a mess. Just want to make sure. Yeah, this should be fine for getting into... Okay, let's clean up this zone. This zone's a mess. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the small decoupler right there. I'm going to turn off that engine shroud. Then we're going to use a fairing base in here. Going to bring that up. Close that off. Come on. There we go. And then disable that staging. And disable that expansion. So this is like just a cowling. Just to clean that up. That looks a little better. Put this flag back on. Right there. Alright, does this have the thrust that it needs on the bottom? Need a lot more? Definitely. Does it have the delta V it needs? It's going to do this. Then this. This is stage number 4. Oh, this is messed up. There we go. Yep, 3,791 to get. No, it should be fine. Okay. And again, I will... Oh, you think Restock has updated to fix... Yeah, I know Restock has updated to fix... because there was a problem with the Communitron antennas. This one wasn't appearing, and I think it's now fixed. If I think that's what you were referring to, Philippe, I'm not sure. Hope. Just catching up on the chat. Don't you need a standard antenna? No, I don't. I don't think so. No, once I deploy these guys, that will be my antenna. Let's turn this again to dark fins. All right. So let's play with thrust awaits. I want a launch thrust of about 1.33 in the atmosphere. I'm really stuck on that number for some reason. Then when these detach, this will be 1.94, so it'd be good for these to be in the same ballpark. 1.93, that will be fine. And then that's at full thrust. That should be fine-ish. We'll see. It should be okay. I'm going to leave this alone, this alone, this alone. Okay, let's play with action groups. I realized that I put these... Let's turn these off. Okay. Let's just make... No, let's... Yeah, we'll make these ones go on first. Because that'll be the first antenna. So toggle that antenna. And actually, we'll turn these ones on at the same time on the main vessel. And then on action group 2, we'll toggle on the middle one's antennas. I'm just thinking of the order in which I'm going to release all these. I don't know. And I'm also keeping the launch clamp separate from the radial boosters because Kerbalism might make these radial boosters fail on me. We had some adventures with that in the past. So this way I'm able to fire off these boosters and make sure they're going before releasing the clamps. This should be good. Okay, let's save this. And again, we'll simulate. And hopefully... Oh yes, the decoupler shroud mod, John, is a nice little mod. I might put that back on there. The decoupler shroud mod basically would have done, oh my gosh, I can't do it. Exactly what I did here with this fairing, but does it automatically, which is really kind of nice, without fiddling in a fairing to do it. All right, yeah, this is not going to be our contracts. Well, let's just get rid of this for now. This is just a test flight to make sure that this launch is okay. So again, step 1 is to make sure both of these two SRBs go on. So boom, good, release. And all I'm testing is, can we make orbit okay? So we're pitching over. I want to keep that heading right at 90. Back down a bit. Lock that onto prograde, see where it settles out. Oh, we're going to be losing those boosters right away. There we go. Oh, no! Oh, shit. Oh, and of course I have no... I should detach that. Oh, my gosh. Well, we're clearing everything. Oh, my. So that was Kerbalism again. I must have... Let's terminate the simulation. That was Kerbalism causing that launch failure, but I now think that that's the third launch fail. I think I've failed about as many times as I've succeeded with these SRBs. I'm just going to really quick get into settings. So settings, because I think we're failing too much. Let's take a look at Kerbalism. I know that there's critical failure rate is 25%. Fixable failure rate is 50%. Engine malfunctions. Engine ignition failure chances, 75%. Engine burn failure chances, 75%. There's no way it's failing 70. Adjust the probability of an engine failure on ignition. Does this say like 75? It must mean more 75% of the time it's going to succeed. Right? That can't be that it's going to fail 75% of the time. Well, considering I can turn that up to 300%, that really doesn't make a difference or much sense. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn down the probability of this failure. I'm going to make it half of what it was before. So it was 75%. So around 30, oh my gosh, 37%. In around that ballpark. And let's do the same with this one. I'm not quite sure what this percentage means. Maybe I'll... If anyone in the chat knows exactly what this percentage means, it can't actually mean that 37% of the time in which you do an ignition, the engine is going to fail, because that seems ridiculous. Okay, let's accept that. Accept that. Resume. Because those SRBs are failing way, way, way too often. Let's do another sim. There's just no way they should fail as often as that. The odd failure is fine for me. It kind of adds to the fun. But if they're failing like over half the time, that's ridiculous. In my mind. All right, let's try this again. So, SAS on, throttle up. Punch it. Both are going. Go. Again, this is in simulation mode. Because I am playing that once I'm not in simulation mode, I got to deal with whatever happens unless it's a Kraken attack. Oh, Jesus. And that certainly wasn't a Kraken attack, what happened there. That was a Kerbalism attack, which I installed it. I gotta live with it. Alright. And we're just checking to make sure this thing can get itself into orbit. Whoa, 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 I'm losing it. Okay. Wow. Terminate the simulation. Okay. So we got a lot of drag from that great big fairing up at the top. There are 2 sets of reaction wheels in there, so I'm going to live with that. That is a swivel. It's got gimbling on it. Even these guys have... Yeah, there's gimbling on those. I could put bigger fins on it. Might not be a bad idea. Put on bigger fins. Bigger fins sometimes feel like a cop-out to me. Okay, Delta V is still fine. A little bit more thrust on these. A little bit more thrust on these. Alright. Like, where's the center of mass and center lift? Ah, well. Center mass is really low. Well, of course, look at all these frickin' SRBs on the bottom. You know what I could do? Oh my gosh. You know what? Considering that Kerbalism is failing on me, like introducing these failures, this is a much more sensible thing to do here. Is to just use bigger SRBs, for goodness sakes. Why didn't I think about that before? That way, that now halves the chances if this half the chances of this thing failing by simply using. Doesn't that make sense? I think that makes sense. Get some nose cones on there. I now have these nice slanty ones. You have to like the slanty ones. And some struts, right? I do have struts, yes. Thought I had struts. There. Okay, let's fix this up a little bit. So these are on the bottom. This makes a ton more sense. Still lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of delta V. And should have a lower failure percentage. So, again, bit of a thrust to weight adjustment. Beautiful. That is a way, 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 way more sensible rocket. Let's try this one more time. Well, hopefully one more time. Let's simulate this. Actually, in fact, what I might just do, because it does have so much fuel, just take some of that solid rocket propellant. It didn't really accomplish much. No, we'll stick with what we got. Okay, simulate. This is going to be it now. Yeah, I think there's a lot of drag up on that fairing, and that's John's mentioning as that angle of attack increases, and I was fiddling around at the point where I lost it. You get a lot of aerodynamic drag hitting sideways on this fairing, and that's going to flip it around. Which, not fun. Okay, we're going to try this one. This one's it. Let's do this. Okay, so again, SRB's going. We're off. I was fiddling around with attitude when it did flip out. But, you know, you're going to do that, right? Lock that in prograde. Again, I want that heading to be 90 degrees. Come on, 90. Now these SRBs will go for longer too. I think it looks better too. The thumper SRBs on the side. There we go. That looks good. Okay, and stage those. Oh, they're going to bang into each other, aren't they? Yes, they are. Always don't. I don't know. Rockets with really gigantic tail fins on them just don't look right to me. I like little to none, but oh well. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do indeed? Okay, let's reduce throttle. That feels good. It's a Delta Heavy. It's not quite heavy, but. All right, I think we're in nice control here now. And this is plan would be an 80 by 80 orbit. We'll see what we get of this. And again, this is just about can we make orbit, and then we'll revert, and then we'll do it for real if this all goes right. Oh, just went into switch to orbit there. You calling this rocket fat? But I'm thinking that the build's been worked out. Okay, let's lose the fairings. Oh, that is what you would refer to as a staging mishap. All right, that's it. I'm done with testing. I'm done with testing. Oh dear, oh dear. So clearly the staging was at the wrong. Okay, let's look at this staging again. This fairing needs to be before you stage that upper 1, that's it. All of these decouplers can be all messed up. I don't care about those. We'll put those on manually. Okay. Okay, this is it. This is it. No more fooling around. This is the one. It was flying fine. I am very confident we're going to fly this. So, this is for real now. Oh boy, there's only so many simulations you can do before you just say, forget it, we're going for it. She's gonna fly. She's gonna like it. Okay, let's get our contract sorted out here actually. So what we'll do is there is this sort of mission list thing. I have these old missions here, you can delete them. Let's delete these old missions. This is the Contracts Plus window, which is absolutely awesome. So we're going to make a new mission. How do I make a new mission? Oh, we got to add it to me. Okay, I remember how to do this. I know how to do this. I know how to do things. Okay, one of them is this specific orbit around the moon. So we're going to add this to a mission. This is going to be a new mission, and this is Mun Relays. That's the name of this mission. Create a mission. And then we're going to go with the other one, which is to put relay satellites. We'll add that to Mun Relays. And now, if I go to Mun Relays, there's our 2 contracts. Nicely organized for us. So that's to remind us of what our contracts are. Okay, do this, do this. Let's get our Kerbalism window open. Let's put this on here. Okay, again, we will launch and go. Again, making sure both of those boosters ignited. Tell you, Kerbalism really does kind of encourage you. Sorry, let's just get this gravity turns thing started. Kerbalism really does encourage you to try and not use radial. Try and minimize the number of engines you have, because each engine is another potential point of failure. Another potential fail to ignite. Just like the SN9 on landing. Failure to ignite. I'm sure they will work that out. And in the meantime, we get spectacular explosions. What else do you want? Alright, getting ready to separate those SRBs. Boom. A nice heading at 90 degrees, so I'm very happy with how that's playing out. I have my fairing staged next. So I'll make sure not to mess that part up. And I don't care about how this stuff is staged up here, because all that's just going to get staged manually. Okay, let's knock down the thrust. Our apoapsis was closing into about a minute ahead. All right. Yeah, the N1. I don't even want to think about the N1, for those that don't know, is the Russian moon rocket, and it had somewhere in the order of about a bazillion engines. I'm not 100%. Yeah, that's my official informed estimate of how many engines they had. All right. Okay, we're just letting that apoapsis build. Again, we're getting to 80 kilometers for that apoapsis, and then we'll send this sucker off to the moon and get our moon relays in. And there's going to be a lot of orbital shenanigans going on, a lot of orbital finagling. Using my boomer lingo. And so if you're into all of that kind of stuff, a lot of orbital manipulation, then this is going to be good for you. But at least now this thing seems to be Seems to be behaving. Oh, wait, I can lose the fairing. There we go. Oh, my gosh. Must have had that. Thought I put that on clamshell. Obviously not. That's okay. Letting that apoapsis continue to build. It's just cracking 70 kilometers now. And 80. There we go. Okay, let's time warp up. Complete this circularization. Get this show on the road. There. Now go real time warp. Okay, just about 30 seconds from apoapsis. Ensure the ignitions on this guy is fine. You can upgrade those engines. I'm just cheap. Okay, let's start this burn. Just a little bit of thrust. I want to just keep that apoapsis just a little bit ahead of me. That's looking pretty good. Easily got enough delta V to do this. Turn down the thrust as much as I can without actually turning off that engine. I just want to... Oh, wait, I can pitch down, silly. Pitch down. Oh, wait, never mind. We're there. Should have pitched down as I was starting to lose my apoapsis. I just kind of forgot. Okay, we are good. Let's just put this on north. It's just a habit I get into for solar panels. There's still almost 200 meters per second of delta V left in this, so we might as well make use of it. But let's get ourselves out there to the moon. Oh, let's turn off all of this distracting information here. And there's our moon. Set that as a target. And put that out there. Okay, let's focus our view on the moon. Now, there is an orbit that we are trying to match. That is for this contract here. So our first contract is going to be matching this specific orbit, and then we're going to tweak it after that. You can see the orbit is a little bit inclined. And I took that into account as well. Hopefully I calculated this all correctly. But what I need to do right now, select this and start tweaking this a little bit. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong way. Well, this is pretty close already. I just want to get this periapsis to be just above. I'm hitting the time for some dumb reason. Hit the prograde. There we go. Just want to get that periapsis to be just above this outer edge of this orbit. And again, the idea here, we'll be doing a mid-course correction along the line. That's pretty good right there. That's fine. Oh, this orbit is in this mode is in the past. That doesn't help. So we're gonna have to move it. Go ahead and orbit there. Tweak that time just a little bit more. A little bit more on a prograde. That's pretty good. I think so. Like I said, we got to do a correction anyway. Okay, so this burn's coming up in 30 minutes. So let's put the view this way. And let's look how dark the night side of the moon is here. Looks cool. Let's do that. Come around here, enjoying the view. I love seeing the clouds kind of roll and boil down below. I think that looks really good. Okay, so the first part of this burn is going to be on our booster, and then the rest of it will be on the little spark engine up there at the top. And hopefully we won't have a failure to ignite on that one. That's always a possibility, but if that happens, we'll just stage right away and then go on the other one. Sort of bonus usage out of this anyway. Oh, there's an add one orbit on the node itself here. Oh, yeah. No. Okay. Whatever. Looking at old comments. Okay. 15 seconds. Not doing any data. Let's put on info. There we go. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and punch it. And we've got to get ready to stage pretty soon. There we are on the little spark. Well done, sir. Well done, little rocket. That one there. The rest of it is just on this fella. It's got a lot of work to do. Okay, let's watch this from the moon here. On the maneuver node and just get ready to reduce throttle. Oh, I'm fiddling. Okay, reduce throttle. Here it comes. Cut. Ah, it's good enough. Not worth another puff. I think there's a lot of ignitions on the Spark engine, 16 ignitions, but no sense. No sense pushing it when it's not necessary. Put that onto the north vector there, and I'm going to extend these antennas while I'm thinking about it. There goes one. I thought that would do U2. Extend that antenna. Oh, didn't go both at the same time. Extend that antenna. There we go. Lots of antennas. I wanted to do that before we ended up out of range of the antennas that are built into the probe core. That would be unfortunate. While I am thinking about it. Okay, mid-course correction burn. And I want to just... Oh, even the way... I love the way this is working out. Like, we're even coming in so that our inclination difference with this target orbit looks like it's going to be kind of alright. That's good. Just going to up the time here and try and get this to being as a reasonably, it's not too time critical. There we go. We'll use radial to bring that in a little bit. Obviously the scale needs to be higher than that. There we go. We'll zoom in, get this as close as we can from here, and then we'll... Whoa! That was a lot of change. That. A little more radially inwards. A little bit more normally downwards. Downwards as in southwards. That's good. I like that. Okay. All right, let's get that one done. So, you know, I'm going to... No, I'm not. I'm going to be good. I was going to F5. Because I am a disaster sometimes when it comes to time warping, but I've gotten much, much better at using these warp 2 buttons. It's funny how long it took me to get used to doing that. Okay, I only have a 1 second burn, so I'm going to really reduce the thrust on this a lot. Because at the full thrust, 12 seconds is much better. There, that's good, 7 seconds. And as this is not time dependent really, I can just do this right now. So let's just do it. So am I on the node here? I don't have to wait for the timer to get to 0 or anything. It isn't that time critical, is what I'm trying to say. So let's just do this. Do quick, quick, quick. Pretty good. I think I might have overdid it a little bit, but that's okay. Yep. Again, getting a good spot for the solar panels. That should be fine. And let's time warp to here. Oop. Where's the moon? Oh, getting more science from that mite experiment. It's doing its job. What much science are we up to now? Where are we here? I'm losing this. 80, holy crap, I've not been keeping track of this. We're at 86 science. 7.5 science from the site experiment. Oh, I'm getting excited. There's now 86 science there. Oh, and I see some, let's look at these notifications. We got some contracts complete. Our low resolution altimetry scan of Kerbin is complete. And we've caught some science data from space around Kerbin. That one is complete. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Meanwhile, back around the moon, we have to... Gosh, do I really? I don't even know if I need to tweak this. I think I'm perfectly happy with that. I don't think I'm going to play with that at all. So I'm just going to put a maneuver right here at periapsis. I think it's more than close enough. We'll just take a look at these orbital parameters. There is an argument of periapsis here, so what that's telling me is I do have to match this periapsis and this apoapsis locations. So we'll do that too at the same time. So this is all going to be one big burn. Well, hopefully not too big, honestly. This on 20. There we go. So get our capture here. Now the other thing, of course, we got to do is match inclination. But look how little that changes. That is fantastic. I'm very, very pleased with that. We'll do that at the same time. Need a little more. Need to bring that down. There we go. And let's see. We can get, yeah, we need more. We can actually look here. Whoops. Not quite there at periapsis. Let's adjust the timing there a little bit. Whenever that one periapsis gets away on you, that's what's happening there. Okay, let's look. Our target apoapsis is 254. So I'm actually a little bit to 254. In and around there. And we need to have this apoapsis here. And the way we're going to accomplish that is simply by using radial components. So I think if I burn radially inwards, nope, it's radially outwards. There we go. So we got a lot. We got all three components going with this burn. We got some normal, we got some radial. I'm going to get some more retro. There we are. I can see, I need to play with this a little more. Need. So I'm playing with the radial, playing with the normal. And really, as long as if you're visually matching that target orbit, that's looking pretty, oh my gosh, that's looking snazzy all the way around. I'm not even going to look at the numbers. I'm just going with that. that looks fine to me. Remember this, let's turn that back up. Got an 18-second burn. Okay, let's get that done. So, warp to that. Let's actually turn the view back to orbital. Warp to that. Okay, and retrograde. Here's our moon. And of course, it's not a total retrograde burn. There is some radial parts to this. There is some normal parts to this. So that's why the node is a little bit off of retrograde. And hopefully we'll get all of these parameters green in just one go. If we don't, we can just do further tweaks so that we do. But that's the first part of this contract, is to do that. All right. About almost 15 seconds to the burn here. We're just going to go right to full throttle right away. And I hope I have this all planned out right with the amount of fuel aboard. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. And towards the end of this, we'll reduce throttle, and I'm really just looking to see these guys go green. If they go green, I'm a happy camper. Let's reduce throttle. Back on there. Reduce throttle more. Come on, go green on me. Get back on that maneuver node. A bit more throttle. There we go. This went green here. Close that. We're close enough. Just waiting the obligatory 10. Oh no. Oh, fine print. Fine print gets me again. Do you see it? Do you see it? Have a mystery goo on the satellite. Okay. So this contract is not going to be fulfilled. We will hide you so we don't have to see you. But we did fulfill the relay contract because it never specified the orbit that the relay had to be in. So at least one of those contracts got in. But for the orbital insertion contract, there was a requirement to have a GUI aboard that I completely missed. What else is new? However, despite the fact that we did fulfill the contract for the relay, I'm not happy with that. I don't like this as a relay orbit. I want to fix the orbit of this, and my first goal is to fix the inclination, and this is why I brought Kerbal Engineer along. So Kerbal Engineer, you can see, gave me some more data. A lot of this data is repeated down here with this data, and one of the things this gives me is inclination. Tells me I'm in a 10.4 degree inclined orbit. I would like that to be 0. But in order to do that burn, I have to do that burn at either the equatorial ascending node or descending node. And you can estimate where they are. Like it's where the orbit crosses the equator, so in around here. But I would love to have that information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Kerbal Engineer. I'm going to open up this first HUD here. And we're going to add in some orbital data. So what I am interested in is putting in inclination. There's my inclination right there. And I'm also looking at putting in the time to the equatorial ascending node and the time to the equatorial descending node. I think I'm also going to add in, this is under miscellaneous, I'm going to add in a separator, and we're going to do some organizing all this stuff. There are little arrows here to help you organize. So I'm going to put that inclination up to just after periapsis, time to equatorial ascending node, and time to equatorial descending node. And then we'll move that separator up there. That separates this nicely. So there we go. Right up here at the top, I have my inclination and my time to those things. So what I can do right now is see, oh, I am 19 minutes and 40 something seconds away from the equatorial ascending node. So let's time warp to that. I want to get my inclination down to 0. That's my first step. And I don't, oh no, we should have a signal all right. So let's get ourselves close. So I'm just watching this here. So this is just some information that stock doesn't give me. Oh, did I just time warp right past it? I think I did. Shoot. See how my time warping machine, okay. Just notice it jumped to 1 hour and 59 minutes. But you know what I'll do? I'll try and do it here anyway. So I'm going to put myself onto here-ish. Point myself south. Let's do this here. I'm just going to do this right now. I think I'm right around in the right spot. And all I'm looking at is my inclination. Whoops, shoot. really should have done this with a maneuver. Now I'm looking at it. Okay, inclination's under a degree. It's under, it stopped going down. So I got it down to 0.6 degrees. Let's really get that inclination down to 0. Well, you know what? Nah, we'll leave it the way it is for now. Okay. Next step in all of this is I want to get into an orbit that is a suitable phasing orbit. You'll see what I'm getting to in just a little bit. And for that, I want it to be an apoapsis of 377.35 and a periapsis of 103.85. So I'm going to do that first. So we're going to put ourselves on retrograde. This is all just orbital tweaking stuff. We'll see how this works in just a second. I'm annoyed that I didn't get this contract because of the goo. And I'm going to bring that down to 103.85. I've got this all worked out. Trust me. 103.85. Went a little bit too far, but that's okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves down to periapsis. Yeah, lawyers love me. It's absolutely true. I think it would probably surprise absolutely no one if for me to say that it's my wife that handles all the finance in my house. And my lack of attention to detail, she could take me for every last thing I own. Beyond a doubt. Okay, so we're time warping down to periapsis. And what we're going to do at this point is increase our apoapsis out and around 377 kilometers. But there's something that's more important to this. And then once I have this orbit, I'll be able to explain all the shenanigans I'm doing right now. So I'm just letting myself getting close to periapsis. Here, we're about a minute away. I'm going to put myself on prograde. And what I want is I'm shooting for an orbit with a period of 2 hours. So though I'm really going to be, I am increasing my apoapsis, what I'm really looking at here is this orbital period number. I would like that to be as close to 2 hours as I can. That's the critical thing. Because my final orbit's going to have a period of 3 hours. And you'll see how being kind of a third off is going to really help this out. And I explained this way, way better in my tutorial video I did on Saturday. But I think you'll see how this is going to work. Okay. So, let's start increasing throttle here. We're very close. Okay, I'm going to turn down this thrust itty bitty and I'm looking at the period. And I want that period to be 2 hours. There we go. 2 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. I still have 7 ignitions on the... I got to be a little bit careful. I do have to be a little bit careful. Okay. But I do not run out of ignitions on this one. Okay, so now, what is the dealio here? Why this particular arrangement? Ignore this one. I'm looking at this orbit here with the periapsis here and the apoapsis here. The whole plan here is I'm in an orbit with a period of 2 hours. We're going to time warp up here towards apoapsis. I'm going to drop my first relay satellite, and then I'm going to increase its period till it has a period of 3 hours. Then we're going to go around do one more orbit, which again, remember, will take 2 hours, while the satellite we just put in orbit will take 3 hours to go around. In other words, we're going to be, because we're in the higher period orbit, we're going to end up 1 hour ahead of the previous satellite. And since the period is 3 hours of the orbit that I'm going for, 1 hour is 1/3 of an orbit. Drop another satellite, go around again, and then we'll be another hour ahead, and then what we'll end up with is 3 satellites all equally spaced around our final orbit. I'm hoping that made some sense. If it doesn't, I'm hoping it'll make some sense very, very, very soon. But what we'll end up with is a very good, hopefully very good relay network. All right. So now I'm coming up to apoapsis. I'm going to stop maybe a few minutes before. There we go. That's good. We're going to put this onto the normal vector. And I'm realizing what I should have done was turn down the decoupler force on this decoupler, because this is going to give it a kick for sure. Which way would I like it to kick? Which am I, if anything, I would like it to kick towards the north. So let's do what we're doing. Okay. So these antennas are just deploying. That's fine. We got a good signal with Kerbin. That's fine. Let's decouple this. So decouple. There it goes. Get back on that satellite. I told you we'd get a huge kick. Activate this. All right. This satellite is just about ready for its final insertion. So it is 3 minutes away from apoapsis. Let's get there. Okay. Put that on prograde. I'm probably going to need to turn down this thrust pretty soon, because this isn't going to be much of a burn. A little bit closer. And hopefully I will not mess this up. All right, so again, I'm going to give a little bit of thrust. And what I'm looking at is really just the period. That's it. I'm bringing that period up to 3 hours. Need more thrust than this. Let's go. More thrust. And I know if you're really finicky about getting circular orbits and making sure your inclination is exactly 0, I might come back and tweak all that stuff later. But to be honest, it's the period that's the single. If you want an effective relay network, it's really the period you need to watch. Okay, I'm at 8 seconds away, so I'm going to really turn down this thrust. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. One more. 0. All right, so that's now a period of 3 hours. Put this onto north. Oh, shoot, still locked to prograde. Put this onto the north vector. And there's our first relay. Now, am I close enough to switch to my other vessel still? I am not. So we're going to have to switch to our other vessel, just doing it this way. Actually, if you're having trouble, Kerbalism does a nice job here. If you click on the names, see, it gives you everything. This guy, actually, let's rename this. This is, rename it. This is Mun Relay 1. Accept. But see, Kerbalism lists all your vessels, and if you actually click on just a little icon of the other one, whoops, should be able to do it. How do you, can't I? Okay, I thought I could do the switch from here. Don't make me a liar. There. Go to vessel. I knew I could do it, so I can go to it. So if you're having trouble clicking on it, instead of going back to the tracking station, this will work as well. Okay, here we go. So here's our first vessel again. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of orbits. But what I want you to watch, we'll do some time warping. So we're in this blue orbit with a period of 2 hours. The satellite we just inserted is in this higher orbit with a period of 3 hours. And what we're going to find is we're going to get around quicker by an hour. You see the relay's already starting to work. Oh, the relay kind of We lost our contact there, but this will be the end of that. We will have a functional network before this is all done. I'm going to hit time F5 here because if I time warp past, I want to be able to come back. But by the time we get out here to Apoapsis, let's watch from here, we will be exactly 1/3 of an orbit ahead of Mun Relay number 2. I know right now it doesn't quite look like it, but it should be looking pretty good pretty soon. How far are we from Apoapsis? Still 15 minutes. And again, we'll stop a few minutes ahead. There we go. We're about 5 minutes away. Okay, and we're getting ready to now drop our next satellite. Let's see. I thought I put it on 2 for an action group. I did. Excellent. And again, unfortunately, I didn't turn down the decoupler force, so this is going to decouple and then bang into this. But it should be okay. So decouple. Oh dear. Can I get this out? Yeah, let's get it out of here. If you, by the way, use separators here, if I used a separator here rather than a decoupler, this platform does disappear. But the issue I have with that is then you got a separator floating around as debris, and that bugs me too. So there's no winning on that. One big thing is to make sure you deploy these antennas before you do this, so that you know, you do have a signal. You still have the ability to control this. All right, it's rinse and repeat. This fella now needs to go into an orbit of 3 hours. So I'm just time warping, so I'm right before Apoapsis again. You can see how little fuel, too, is required for these satellites. They don't need much. And there, and put you on prograde. Get ready to put this one up. Fortunately, all of this is happening on the night side of the moon. That's unfortunate. I hope people can see this all right. I have a monitor that actually handles blacks really, really well, so I sometimes don't notice how bad this is on YouTube and the like. Okay, throttling up. Okay, I'll let myself get a little closer here. Turn down the thrust. Apoapsis was getting a little bit away on me. Okay, we're at 55 minutes, 57 minutes, 58 minutes. Oh my gosh, keep getting lots of ignitions on the ant engine. Look at that. 75 ignitions on the ant engine. I don't have to worry about that. Okay. Going again, 3 hours. Okay, just a few seconds off. Let's really turn down this thrust. 8:59. There it is, 3 hours. Back on that north vector, there is satellite number 2. Still can't switch, so I'm gonna... Oh, can we still switch from here? I guess not. We're gonna rename this Mun Relay 2. Accept. Mun Relays right there. We're gonna switch to you. Last one. All right. And then finally for this one's our last relay. And although it's kind of an ugly relay, it's all right. I still have a ton of Delta V. I wasn't even close to running out of Delta V. I way over budgeted. We're going to go around. I can do a quick save in case I mess up the time warping, but we're going to go around one more time. Let's put on more of these lines here so we can see how these guys are all starting to communicate with each other. So again, this is us. This is our Mun Relay 2 we just dropped. This is Mun Relay 1. Come around. And this should provide pretty close to full coverage of the moon. Gonna get a nice equilateral triangle out of this. More science from the site experiment. I got a lot of science coming in. Oh, let's this. And this one, there's no more satellites to drop. This is the last relay all by itself. Let's get ready here. Again, I'm just getting myself to close to my apoapsis. Okay. Oh, we need more thrust than that. Okay, put you on prograde. Again, 3 hours is the magic number. Okay, let's do it. And if you mess this up, it's easy to just simply keep tweaking this. Oh, we're really close to. Let's push the apoapsis away. Let's get closer to it again. Come on. Stop. And okay, really little on the thrust. Let's do this one more time. Okay, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. There we go, 3 hours. How many ignitions did I only have one ignition left? That was really close. I should have upgraded that engine. That was really close to not having enough ignitions to finish this off, but it's there. It's done. Let's take a look here. So there are our 3 satellites. You can see they make a nice, center this on the moon, a nice equilateral triangle. So from here on in, we can, I can put stuff in orbit around the moon. Doesn't matter if I'm on the far side. We should be able to have contact anyway. In fact, you can see this guy is on the far side of the moon and it's talking with the other 2 without a problem. The one thing, actually, when it comes to relays, is with this network I set up here, the one place they might have trouble with is right at the poles. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not 100% sure how KSP deals with the terrain and the communication lines going through the terrain. And if you had something on the surface really close to the poles, I might have a problem. So what I might do at some future date is just put another 3 in a polar orbit, same idea, and then you know you got 100% coverage over everywhere on the moon. But with that, let's time warp so we're in the sun. With that, we have ourselves this nice relay network. This should work and stay reasonably stable and relative with each other. I might come in here and tweak them just a little bit, get the orbits closer to being circles and get the inclination right down to 0, but I'm not going to do that right now. It takes too much tweaking, too much time. I know the network is perfectly functional. Not next week, next Thursday, I hope to see everybody back, or as many of you that can make it, and we will start to really science the heck out of the moon. Remember that my end goal, as far as the strategy that I have employed, is to put 3 probes on the surface in different biomes. And that is probably going to be starting to happen pretty soon. But in the meantime, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming out. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And we'll see you on Thursday.